Bitcoin has rallied up nearly to the top side of our range of 88,000 to 90,000 bucks in the past 24 hours. And in today's video, I want to be talking about, should we trust this rally? Is this the rally to be trusting? And just a short answer to that is kind of, but not necessarily at this exact moment, or at least that's the way that I'm kind of playing it. And that's the way that I'm looking at it as of this moment. Anyways, I do want to let everyone know that it is a 7-year anniversary of this channel, which means that we're going to be having a nice little sale here. In fact, it's already going on. The code for the sale is year7, year in all capitals 7. That'll get you 20% off of any one of the programs or products going on over here. And then of course, for the indicator services, like we have with Quant Prime AI, the Caretakers Indicator Bundle, and the Quantum Wave Bands and the VMP, well, you can actually try those for free for the first 30 days for any new user with the coupon code trial in all capitals. All right, sweet. Let's jump into it right now. I want to start off with a little bit of hopium. Again, I also want to remind, based off of the beginning of this video, this is not an urgent thing as of this moment, but I do want to follow up on the MetaSignal setups. We saw that the daily time frame fired off way back when Bitcoin was trading at 84,000 and change, and that first target has almost been hit, very, 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 very close. That first target at 88,100. So again, that does have a rather high probability to play out, usually in the very high 60s / low 70%. And you know, Bitcoin, I mean, it's got quite close there already, but would like to see it officially touched, nice and caressing touch. But of course, it's target number 2 and target number 3 that are the very interesting ones, and these have a much lower probability. So while it is still available, I do want to reiterate that those are the low probability ones, or relatively speaking. And if you were looking at this setup, I would say, hey, the money's in your hand. I don't know, maybe close your hands. Also, we do see that the 8-hour time frame has not just made its target point number 1, but it is now exceeding it. The next one is actually decently higher, kind of near the top side of our more short / medium term range at just under 90,000 bucks. Again, that's about a 50% probability to play out. So, you know, I could still see Bitcoin maybe extending a little bit more, but I don't think that this is the exact rally that is going to be bringing Bitcoin to the heavens and beyond. Like I said, we'll go over why that is a little bit later in this video, but for right now, I do want to expand on the hopium. I do want to expand on the hopium because I do think that what happened in the last 24 hours is, you know, it seems pretty consequential. And we can see over here for the tether dominance chart, and we could also just look at this as general stable coins. Stablecoins are rejecting at that white 200 moving average on a lower high. Plus, as of current, there is potential for hidden bearish divergence of Bitcoin. I'm sorry, I did it again. Holy shit, I'm fucking lobotomized. But if the tether dominance, yes, closes here or lower by the end of this weekend, then that will confirm, and that'll be another impetus for general downside on this chart, which the implication would be is that, you know, the things that these trade against, which are cryptos, you know, should go up, namely Bitcoin there. So again, tether dominance going down typically equates to Bitcoin price going up, and vice versa for the other side as well. So in this case, you know, we do see that lower high in place there. It is on a rejection off of a major moving average, so a good place to be expecting something like that. And we're going to see, actually regular bearish divergence on the daily RSI. But I did want to very briefly check out the stochastic momentum, which is also pointed to the downside here as well. Daily time frame is going to be down as long as this one's below 548. 2-day time frame is also going to be freshly down, by the way, as long as tether dominance is below 554. 3-day time frame also down, so we see a lot of agreement on those sort of lower end of the higher term timeframes. 5-day time frame is going to be having a chance to cross down if it can close at 548 by tomorrow. And well, right now it's decently below there, so that looks quite likely. And the weekly will turn down below 5% exactly. So that one probably still takes a little bit of time, but you can see that the wheels are turning in the background. And if we were to expect, you know, something like this, where again, there's going to be bounces obviously, but you know, maybe it comes back down somewhere closer to lows overall, that would be, you know, that would be my extra ultra confirmation that Bitcoin is, you know, it's probably going to at least retest highs, probably make new highs. So yeah. Anyways, moving on from there, I did want to also get into Bitcoin spot price action because the weekly for Bitcoin is showing an opposite but equal signal here. We're seeing that Bitcoin actually has potential for hidden bullish divergence on the weekly time frame between the lows of September of 2024 versus the lows that we've seen here in early March. Now, this is not confirmed as of right now, just like the hidden bearish divergence on the tether dominance chart is also not confirmed. So these are only potentials in the background. And for this one to confirm, Bitcoin would need to close back above last week's high. Again, that's going to be on Sunday. And that would imply Bitcoin must be above 85,350. I'm actually curious here because I didn't make a note of this, but is the same potential possible on CME's chart? And no, the weekly RSI did not make lower lows than those September lows for CME. So maybe a little bit of a counterpoint to that. Typically, I want to see things on CME rather than spot. Or I mean, typically they should really both be in agreement with each other, but the CME chart is the one that usually has the better signals. So I do think that that's rather interesting there. But when we go further, I do think that there's some really compelling evidence here for the sort of ideation that Bitcoin, has it seen the exact low? Might it go like slightly lower? Maybe it's going to be a slightly higher low. I don't know, but very likely we're looking at where we should be expecting the next major low if you are bullish, meaning that I really don't expect Bitcoin to go significantly further south than the lows of March that we've seen, maybe even not at all, if things are going to be bullish. Now, if Bitcoin starts to trade below there, that's when 50 to 60,000 bucks starts to become a lot more of a reasonable reality to me. But looking at the 5-day stochastic oscillator, which is closing tomorrow night, a couple things here. One, we can see that the 5-day stochastic oscillator has come all the way down, essentially being crossed to the downside since the beginning of December. Keep in mind, Bitcoin actually rallied to new all-time highs literally a month and a half after this one actually did turn down. Now, when we look at the next pivot, again, which is going to be relevant for tomorrow's closure, Bitcoin just needs to close above 83,350 to force this one back up. On top of that, we see a trendline regression here governing all of the most important lows here since this market essentially turned around. Or sorry, actually, no, I take that statement back. It's been governing some pretty extreme lows, although not all of them were, during a bull market. So they're not gonna be just straight fucking up after that. But let's just see what these results look like. I've marked off the last few times we've seen this trend line tested with these red vertical bars. You can see back here was the most recent one from January of 2020, or sorry, the least recent one from January of 2022. Bitcoin did eventually fail, but from that point, it did put in a pretty significant rally here, going to an ultimate high of nearly 30% from that signal. Anyway, same thing over here in 2022 for July. So even during a bear market, it's getting some pretty decent bounces. This one, not as interesting here, but close to 20%, I suppose. And then of course, we got the ones during the bull market as well. In fact, this one also did kind of fire off near the lows of the actual cycle. But during this bull market, we did see it fire off September 2023 right here in this circled area. So, a little bit more on the hopium side there, but I do think that, it is somewhat compelling. Oh, there's the codes for whatnot. If you didn't know how to spell year or trial, it's all good. In fact, you can even get Caretaker's indicator bundle, meaning that you can also trial out the RSI right here, which honestly is it has stood the test of time. And this thing is just, I don't know, it's the most popular thing that we have. Really crazy, but at the same time, a lot of good work behind it as well. Anyways, yes, one last thing for the hopium side. Then we're going to get into the more short/medium term here. Maybe it's actually more short term at this point. And that will be the 5-day HPDRO, or sorry, the 5-day HPDR and then the HPDRO. But we can see, again, Bitcoin did play to the top side of that 50% range. I still look at the overall range as between that 50% level, which is officially 88,000 bucks, and the downside somewhere around the 78.6 level here, which is essentially the lows of March. So I suppose the more that I look at it, the more that I would think that if Bitcoin is going to be bullish, meaning that the bull market's still on, this is just one major massive higher, new low, we probably shouldn't expect actually lower than March's low, and that is 76,700. So that part of the equation is starting to evolve for me. That also means that if Bitcoin starts to trade below there, I I look for this thing to come down a lot more, I suppose, and spend a lot more time going sideways, as well. Anyways, yes, okay. The other big thing with this, however, is the 5-day HPRO. Welcome to our new subscriber, Adam Scala. Welcome to the cave, sir. Very, very nice. Yeah, if you find this content valuable, consider subscribing, just like Adam right there. Anyways, the shilling is strong in this video. Anyways, yes, what I wanted to point out here is that all of these moves on the 5-day HPRO, which by the way is also included in Caretaker's package, his big package, very big package. The Irish are very well endowed, as everyone knows. But looking at this, anytime that we've seen the 5-day HPRO come down to about the negative 50% level, percentile level, I should say, and then turn around, well, that has been, or sorry, actually, it's not a percentile nor percentage, just negative 50. Anytime that we've seen it kind of come down around this region and then turn back up have been essentially all of the major lows that we've seen throughout this bull market. Were they great timings of lows? Not in all cases. I mean, this one was essentially the low of the last bear market cycle, but Bitcoin still spent, another couple of months going sideways after that signal fired off. Yes, the payoff was great after that, but it took a lot of fucking patience, right? Anyways, this one over here, again, waiting a couple months, although it was the low. This one over here, rather fast, I would say. This one over here, very, very slow. But again, firing off within these regions was an indication that, long term, this is probably a value zone. And I suspect that if you are going to be bullish, then you expect the same thing right here as well. And because Bitcoin has had a pretty nice boost up in the last 24 hours, we are actually seeing that we're actually seeing a couple things here. One, the HPRO. It has a positive slope. It's above the moving average, and the moving average also has a positive slope. And that has been the sort of signal in the past with these prior iterations where, things have actually turned around. So, yeah, anyways, that is it for the hopium side. And that's more, medium/longer term now. In the short term, do I think that Bitcoin's going to go straight to the fucking upside from here? Actually, I don't. I still look at the space between 88,000 to 90,000 bucks as kind of fraught with peril, and I refrain from expecting this rally to really have any major reversal implications, unless if it's essentially back above this high right here, which is just under 93,000 bucks. Again, Bitcoin could very easily test up towards 88 to 90,000 bucks again, similar to what the meta signal setups over here were suggesting. Which, by the way, you can get these freely available signals in the link in the description below. But it would align with a lot of those, so it would fulfill that. It doesn't really do anything for price, though. I mean, that's still a lower high, right? And we are starting to see hidden bearish divergence form here. We already have a higher RSI rating than what we saw from that early March swing high right here at 93,000 bucks, meaning that you're going to have potential for hidden bearish divergence as long as you're below there on this current rally. So I don't think it's like literally this one right here that's just going to go fucking moon mode and beyond. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I reserve the right to be wrong at everything, of course, and I'm wrong on these things all the time. But that is my line in the sand. That is where I know, okay, I can be aggressive here. I can be a little more aggressive. And yeah, again, this is not talking about long-term spot holding type stuff. I think, this area around 80,000 bucks is completely fine. Very, 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 very long-term. If you're, holding, 10 years down the road, you don't need to go all fucking in at this point. Just, you can be some long, little long. Sounds like an Indian name. I just finished American Primeval, by the way. Fucking phenomenal. Also, very disturbing, very fucking disturbing, but really, really phenomenal. Anyways, yes. Okay. So there's that. Of course, that hidden bearish divergence is also going to be a potential issue on timeframes as low as a 4-hour timeframe, and everything in between, because again, this one does have a higher 4-hour RSI read than what we did see from that last swing high over here. Although I don't necessarily think that this is going to really matter for the 4-hour, but when the daily has something like that potential, I just don't see Bitcoin doing this. I see it more so maybe giving another try up here, then likely coming back down. But as I said earlier, the more that I look at this, I don't think it's going to make a new low if this thing is going to be bullish. I think it, might come down to like somewhere between 79,000 to 82,000 bucks and then have a quick reversal from there. That would look really, really good to me. And hopefully that would be accompanied by the next major signal that I'd really be looking for, which is, of course, if I can bring it up over here, the hash ribbons indicator. Still don't have a buy signal here. Still waiting the recovery phase to even get a projection for this one. I do think it's probably not that far away, to be fair, because on average it takes about 40-ish days from the first capitulation signal to produce a buy signal. But we're like well past 40 days now, so it's becoming increasingly more likely that I suppose this one will fire off. And if it fires off without Bitcoin going below that March low, then the March low becomes the most obvious area of management. So we'll see what happens. I mean, which one happens first? Is it the chicken or the egg? Doesn't really matter. It's just I want to see both of these things. So anyways, yes, okay. And then one last thing, long term, if you are, if you're like a long term investor, like I said, I did buy some, for my long-term spot holdings here. The reason why isn't anything, it's not anything super complicated. Yes, there's more to it than what I'm about to explain right here, but this range between that white 200 moving average on the daily and that blue 377 exponential moving average has generally been a good accumulation zone in bull markets. We saw it over here last year. We saw it the year before that over here. We saw it in previous bull markets as well, coming off of that 2021 high before the next move up. This has been rather consistent. Yes, when the market does flip around, obviously that's going to be a sell area, or at least closer to the 200 simple is a sell area. But for right now, the onus is on the market to prove that it is, fully bearish, or at least in my opinion, market needs to prove it. As of right now, monthly is still in an uptrend, I suppose. Weekly is, it's in a semi downtrend right there, but it's not super concerning because that's taking out that last prior trending higher low. Anyway, speaking to myself in this moment, one last thing that I'll leave you on, just revisiting the quantum wave bands over here. Again, you can get this for free for the first 30 days with that coupon code TRIAL in all capitals. It's available in the link description below and Teachable. And this one just, gives you high probability scalping setups. Are the entries perfect? No, that's probably where you could optimize this a little bit more. Maybe you look at the entry signals as sort of a call to action, similar to the meta signal setups, where it's like, okay, I'm starting to have, a probabilistic favor of a setup, but maybe I buy a little bit lower than that initial signal. It's one way to play it. But you can see that it's been rather consistent over here, even during this especially boring time, but even during the down times for the past couple of weeks, this one has consistently scalped, decent. They're not gonna be fucking home run trades, but they are winning trades. And well, that's really all that it has to be honest. Anyways, again, you can try that. You can try that for free for the first 30 days. I don't know. Maybe you even use it properly and are able to, remain on the subscription if you like it. As always, though, that's up to you to decide. I'm going to be signing off on that note. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow for another live stream extravaganza.